Thank you. Again, welcome to Leadership Speak. Once again, Leadership Speak is an advanced Toastmasters club for leadership development. We are one of the top 5 clubs globally. And today, I am your sergeant at arms for this meeting. And our club's mission is to provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, resulting in greater self-confidence and personal growth. And leadership, our leadership statements.
I'm so proud.
Zoom master, can you mute, please, everyone? Gene Small, can you mute Gene Small?
So this is our leadership statement. Leadership Speak is the premier club for experienced Toastmasters to become better self-directed leaders. We are an advanced club focused primarily on leadership development in everything we do. Our timer has a virtual hand raised so we all can immediately see who is keeping the time. And today, we have our Toastmaster of the day who will be leading this meeting. Our Toastmaster of the day is Claudette Thomas, that I can see from here. Claudette, yes, thank you very much. Claudette has worked as a social worker for many years in both frontline and management. As a self-directed leader who believes in practicing self-reflection, she gains insight into her strengths, challenges, values, and beliefs. She strives to be self-aware and embraces challenges as learning opportunities to grow and inspire others. Claudette values continuous learning. She has been a Toastmaster for many years and a member of Leadership Speak since October 2023. Please, ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome our Toastmaster of the day, Claudette Thomas.
Thank you, Mamadou, for your great introduction. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone here. Welcome again to our January 13th meeting of Leadership Speak. Our theme for today's meeting is reflective leadership. It is the ability to reflect on one's actions, decisions, and experiences. This leadership style encourages us to examine our beliefs and values inwardly. It fosters self-awareness and enables us to understand our strengths, areas of improvement, and impact on others. Reflective leaders are critical thinkers. They take time to think about what they're doing and why they're doing it. They reflect on the past experiences, learn from them, and improve. In doing so, they contribute to a club's growth, development, and success. How often do you reflect on your successes, challenges, and experiences? John Dewey, a philosopher, once said that we do not learn from experience, but we learn from reflecting on experiences. As a leader, I endeavor to practice self-reflection to gain insight into my strengths and areas of development. For example, I incorporate feedback from my speech evaluators and others members of Toastmasters to help me improve my communication and leadership skills. In general, I try to reflect on my experiences for growth in every area of my life. As self-directed and reflective leaders here today, I encourage you to regularly pause and reflect on your thoughts, feelings, and actions for continuous development and learning. We'll hear more about this theme, reflective leadership, from our education leadership speaker in a few minutes. As we continue our meeting today as reflective leaders, I now invite Toastmaster Dr. Aswathy Rajan to raise the toast. Dr. Aswathy.
Thank you, Claudette. Toastmasters and your friends, mindfulness is not only good for our health and well-being, but also for our career. It can help us develop a valuable habit that will boost our productivity and performance, and that's reflection. Reflection is the process of constructively examining our decisions, mistakes, and successes and learning from them. One way to foster reflection is to ask ourselves questions like, why did I feel that way? Or what could I have done differently? As leaders, we can also use these questions to guide our team members towards reflective practice, helping them to gain insights for the future and to overcome failures. And this is what we Toastmasters do all the time, as our TMOD already mentioned, through evaluations. The evaluations we do for speeches and meeting help us to review, analyze, and evaluate our decisions, both in the moment and over time, and spot any flaws, errors, or gaps in our logic. It assesses our own strengths and weaknesses and set realistic and attainable goals for personal and professional growth. It identifies the problems or challenges that we face and come with creative, feasible, and ethical solutions or alternatives. Dear Toastmasters and guests, please join me to raise the toast to the critical thinkers who gain deeper insights into themselves and develop a more accurate and comprehensive self-concept to become more self-aware, self-confident, and self-directed. Kindly unmute yourself and raise your glasses. To the critical thinkers.
The critical
To
thinkers.
the critical thinkers.
Thank you. And back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Dr. Aswathy, for a very eloquent toast. As usual, we have an excellent team of role players who will explain the roles. I will now invite our timer, Deborah Walker, to explain her role as a timer.
Good morning, my fellow Toastmasters. My role as the timer today is to keep track of the time. Following the conclusion of the speaker portion of the meeting, I will post the timings for all of those in the chat. And in the second half of the meeting, at the conclusion of the evaluations, I will post the timings for each evaluation in the chat as well. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Deborah. I will now introduce our grammarian, Nokawi Nikosi, to explain her role as a grammarian.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. As a grammarian, I'll be listening to the good use of the English language. I'll be listening to the outstanding words or quotes that I use during the proceedings of the meeting, and the ones that are not correctly used during the meeting. And I also have the word of the day that I would love all of us to use, given the opportunity to say something. And the word of the day is also in the chat, is compassionate, since our theme is reflective leadership. So I decided to choose this one. It means feeling or showing sympathy and concern for others. The examples that I have given for it, the first one, he was so compassionate to the crowd. The next one, I allowed him to go home on compassionate grounds. The last one, a reflective leader is a compassionate leader. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Nakawi. We are all compassionate, reflective leaders. Before inviting Vinod Panicker, our leadership education speaker, I will now call upon his speech evaluator, Vinod Walsh, to share the pathways information for Vinod's speech. Vinod?
Thank you. Good everyone. Today our target keynote speaker delivers speech from Pathways, Engaging Humor. Level 5, Developing Sense of Humor. The purpose statement of his project is for the member to practice and developing and presenting a longer humorous speech. All the best to our leadership speaker today, Vinod Panicker. Back to you, Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Vinod. Vinod's speech will be about looking at one's preferences and strengths and playing accordingly in life. Vinod Panicker, leading with self-reflection. Vinod Panicker.
I am 100% sure if I ask all of you this question, how many of you have ever thought of this question? What is the purpose of my life? Have you ever thought about this? Just type in yes if you have in the chat box quickly. The second question that I want to ask you is, have you ever thought, how can I make a contribution to this world? If yes, type yes. If both the questions you have answered no, it is fine. But this speech is for those people who have answered yes. But I don't want to take away something from people who have said no. And let me share why. My personal belief is, if you do not harm anyone, if you don't lie, and you do a decent job in this world, you have done more than 90% of the people what they do in this life. So thumbs up for that. Okay. Now, for those people who want to understand that how can you really fix this world and contribute to the society, I have a formula for you. That is R, R, R. No, this is not the Oscar-winning movie from Bollywood. This is a simple formula that I have derived from my personal life experience. That is research, reflect, research, research. Use research to understand your own self. Reflect on it, and then research on your plans ahead. Let me share a simple story that I heard from Swami Mahitra, which changed my life. Once, there was a boy who loved his father a lot. He wanted to play with his father whenever his father used to come from work. And his father used to come from work 7 p.m. every day. And once he came home from work, every day for 1 hour, he used to read newspaper. That was his daily routine on weekdays. One day, his son, who was 6 years old, came running to him and said, "Dad, let's play." His father gave him that father's look. "Don't you see that I am busy? I am reading a paper, son." But kids, being kids, the kid did not leave his father. He said, "No, Dad, please come, let's play." At that same time, the father saw a very big world map on the newspaper. It was an advertisement of a travel agency. The father quickly had an idea. He immediately tore the page, put it into 10 pieces, and gave it to his son and said, "This is your jigsaw puzzle. Go and solve this." Now, the father sat back again, thinking it will take at least 40 minutes for the kid to solve the questions or to fix the world. Because how can a 6-year-old kid know where is US, where is Japan, where is Canada? To his surprise, in just 5 minutes, the boy came running back, saying, "Dad, I have fixed it." The dad was surprised, lobotomized. He quickly went and saw the boy was right. He had fixed the entire world map in less than 5 minutes. And when the father was looking at the world map, the boy smiled and said, "Dad, I'll tell you how I did this." He said, "Behind the world map, there was a picture of a man. I may not know the countries in the world, but I definitely know where eyes are, where ears are, where mouth is." So the same message the boy gave to his father that day is something that I want to share with the audience and leaders over here. Fix the man, the world gets automatically fixed. Now, in abstraction and theory, it is very good to listen to such stories. But how do we actually change ourselves? Any change can only happen through reflection, through understanding what is your strength, through observing how do you behave in your life, within yourself and with others. So there are 3 research that I would like to share with all of you today that has impacted my life personally, and why I believe everyone sitting in this room should take this route of using research. As Albert Einstein had once said, "You look far by standing on the shoulders of the giant." I personally believe that more than our parents, society, or personally, individual, each of us should respect the researchers of this world. These are the people who give 20, 30, 40, 50 years to one particular topic for one invention, or maybe just taking one topic on leadership and developing theories around this. And most of this academic theory are buried in academic literature. Nobody comes to know about this unless and until you actually go and learn all those things. So my first encounter was with MBTI, that is Myers-Briggs Type Indicator. And this is based on Carl Jung's theories of individuation. How it has helped me, I will tell you first. My wife personally always calls me a person who has got antisocial mental disorder, because I'm a very hardcore introvert. I don't like to go out. I like to read books. Even during COVID, when the entire world was itching to go out and do something, I had no issues. I was very happy that I could spend time with my kids, with my family. So, being an introvert, I always felt that people who go out and are extrovert and can strike conversations are better people. But all this thing changed in 2017 when I took one test during my organizational development class. The teacher gave us a test on MBTI, which I will be sharing with our leadership group in the leadership chat. And some preferences came. And in that, I understood that there was one preference called as energy. Each one of us sitting over here gets energy in a different way. Some of us get energy from being with ourselves, by reading book, by being in isolation, by having your own space. Some of us get our energy by going out, meeting people, talking to people. These are the people who will never get tired. They want party, then after party, and still they will not get tired. And I felt there was always something wrong with me as an introvert. But after taking that particular test, I realized that 50% of the people in this world are introvert and 50% are extrovert. And the myth that leaders are extrovert was also broken in that class. Because when our teacher showed us the list of introvert leaders, I was completely shocked. Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg, Albert Einstein, Abraham Lincoln, even Elon Musk. These all successful leaders are hardcore introverts. That was the time I started feeling, wow, I am also someone. And then I explained this to my wife that this is why I don't like to go out. And my life was a little bit settled from that time. The second research that has changed my life is the Strength Finder from Gallup. This test has been taken by millions of people, and I believe in Leadership Speak, we do our own test with some other person who has done this test, the person author. But here I am sharing something which has personally changed. I had a coach. We always had debates that what is coaching, what is this, you should always have a coach. And one day my coach suggested, Vinod, you need to take this test. And I immediately went online, paid the money, took the test, and then he did the facilitation. The top 5 strengths that came from this particular test proved that or showed that I was someone who likes to be strategic. And I love learning. And when I reflected back, yes, it was true. I am someone who likes to take on big things. I am someone who likes to learn a lot. So that again was one more research which personally had changed my life. The third research was from someone called as Dr. John Demartini. Now, I don't know how many of you have heard Dr. John Demartini. It was a time when I was a division director of Division B in our district. And just like Brahm tries to push everyone to go that extra mile, I always pushed everyone to go that extra mile. But I never understood why this was not happening. Because I wanted others to see what I was seeing with Toastmasters. It's a wonderful organization which can change your life. Everything that you want to be successful in life, it is there in this program. It is one of the best modular approach program where the programs are designed for gamification. Level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. All the entire organization works on connectiveness and belongingness. Okay, there are only 2 proper entities, which is Toastmasters and the world headquarters, and rest everybody is there to support the clubs, the area, the division, the district, the region, the world headquarters. But still, there are many people who are not able to see what I was seeing for their clubs. It was then when I took this test of Dr. John Demartini. It's a very simple test of determining your values in life. And that is when I understood what Dr. John Demartini says. Before that, I used to feel the way you do something is the way you do everything. But after taking that test, I realized that the way you do a high priority thing is different from the way you do a low priority thing. So when people do not do things, it's pretty simple. It's not a priority for them. It took me one long, hard year in 2019 to understand this. So after that, I stopped pushing. Said, fine, if that is not on your priority list, let it be like that. So these were the three research that has personally helped me to become a better person and a better leader. Now, these three things are just there to understand yourself, understand your strength, understand your behaviors, understand how you interact with your world. Now, once you understand all these things, how are you going to apply? The second thing is you need to reflect. Peter Drucker, one of the greatest management gurus, says that a leader's job is to put his legs on top of the desk and look out of the window every day for 5 minutes. What he meant by that is every leader should take time to reflect on what happened that particular day. The second thing that I learned was from Dalai Lama. He's someone who has been very, very impactful in my life. And the word of the day, compassionate, is something Dalai Lama always keeps speaking about, where he says that compassion is more important than love. And he jokingly says, you can be compassionate towards your neighbor's wife, but you cannot love your neighbor's wife, right? So compassion is a bigger feeling than love. And Dalai Lama also says the same thing. Whatever you do during the course of the entire day, every day in the evening, before you go to sleep, just for 10 minutes, reflect. What went well and where can you improve? So when you think about this reflection, then you can see the change. Even if you are improving 1% every day, the Japanese philosophy of Keizan, 1% improvement every day. Even if you improve 1% every day, by the end of the year, you would have improved a lot, right? So think of how can you reflect as a leader and what is it that you want to reflect. Now, one of the lessons, each one of you, whenever you had learned driving, you must have sat with your instructor. What does the instructor say first? Think about it. What does the instructor say about first? Look in the rear view mirror. Okay, so you look at the rear view and the back before you go ahead. Same principle, apply it to our life. Before going into front, before moving into 2024 with all your goals in life, look back. What has happened in 2023 and what has happened before? And when you look back, you will get a pattern of what was good for you and where have you been getting stuck in life. This is where the research that I said comes into help. When you look into your strength through scientific methods, you get some idea. I am not telling that 100% these are true or follow this blindly. Always question whatever comes to your mind or whatever comes in front of you. But from my personal experience, people who have spent 20, 30, 40 years on a particular scientific instrument and they keep on enhancing it has got definitely some value. Because this is not something which is good for one person. That is why I did not mention author's name. Because authors' suggestions or authors' point of views are subjective based on their life experience. But when you take a research, it has been done for at least more than 1,000 people. And when it comes to MBTI, when it comes to Clifton Strength, it has been taken by millions of people across the world. So let's start a culture in Leadership Speak where we actually use this scientific instrument to understand ourselves. Before creating a goal for the year 2024, let's sit back and see what has happened in 2023 and before that. And the most important thing that I would like to share is face your shadows. Face your shadows. Now, unless and until you face the things that are holding you back, you are not going to move ahead or research in life. So once you get the research, once you reflect on it, find the patterns in life that just think of the things that when is the time you are anxious? When was the time you are fearful? When is the time you feel that you are not enough? Write down all those things and start looking at life from Monday to Sunday. As I always like to say, we live our life from Monday to Sunday. Like every one of you over here in this meeting, on a Saturday, you have given 2.5 hours to Leadership Speak. What do you do after the meeting? What do you do on Sunday? What do you do on Monday? What do you do on Tuesday? This is how you live your life. Look at the things that are working for you. Look at the things that you want to change and take help. So, my dear friends and leaders, I would urge everybody in this room to look at the way of research, reflect to research. Thank you very much, and back to you, TMOD.
Thank you very much, Vinod, for a very captivating and compelling speech. My takeaways: fix the man and the world automatically fixes. Face your shadows. Reflect, reflect, and reflect daily. Thank you once again. We'll now move on to the next part of the meeting, which are the speeches. Our first speaker today is Carine Baptiste. Before inviting Carine, I'll call her speech evaluator, Hannah Schmidt, to share the pathways information for Carine's speech. Hannah?
Madam Toastmaster of the Day, Carine's purpose statement is: the purpose of this statement is for the member to identify her primary leadership style or styles. And the purpose of this speech is for the member to share some aspects of her primary leadership style or discuss leadership styles in general. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Hannah. Carine will share that knowing your leadership style enables you to know yourself better. Carine Baptiste, Democratic style, Carine Baptiste.
Thank you. Dear member, fellow Toastmaster, and welcome guests. 2 years ago, during my ExCom meeting, the past president of Paris La Défense told me, Carine, would you like to be a president to replace me? I told her, I'm not experienced president. I didn't know how to manage or lead a club. She replied to me, you took in charge of different roles, such as VP Education, VP PR, Sergeant d'Armes, and also you have your mentor, Youselee, to help you. I'm thinking about, why not? It could be an incredible experience for me to learn, to grow, and to lead a team. I'm asking different questions. Does it role suit me? I'm a good manager with my team? It could be a challenge for me to test it. During the first year, it was an incredible experience. It was finally easy. Have an incredible team who listened to me, who did the job, who are very involved. And for each ExCom meeting, they propose new ideas. And that's why the club has succeeded to achieve 10 points for the DCP. My role is to provide with us to motivate them, to create links between us, and also to grow. And for me, I learned a lot of things. Coordinate a team, learn, and also to train, to support in order to develop their skills. And finally, I see I'm a democratic leadership because I can let them to use the free way to self-directing themselves and also to achieve the results. During the same time, I was also a member in another club in Europe. Their meeting is online. There are a lot of experienced members, but the problem, the VP education resigned, and another problem, they don't have enough members. For me, it is a change because I was enthusiastic to share some best practice I've used in Paris La Défense in this club. Firstly, I propose to organize workshops related to table topic, evaluation, vocal variety, in order to attract new guests and also to develop the skills that are valuable to improve their public speaking skills. At the beginning, we have a lot of guests, but unfortunately, they don't subscribe, they don't register. I don't know why. For me, it was a failure because I don't know why people don't want to attend, to be part in this club. Whereas in Paris La Défense, it was easy for me. We thought about another option. The president calls a club coach to help us to attract, to develop a new strategy in attracting new members. I like the way to work together with a club coach because this person was energetic. She wants to develop a brainstorming with us in order to highlight some relevant, important ideas in order to find solutions. And during, I remember a meeting, I asked her, what are the communication style you use to attract your members and guests? They told me, use as a social network, LinkedIn, Facebook. And I remember, do you use the excellent meetup? This is a huge network in order to attract, to increase your visibility, to promote your club. They have not thought yet. But finally, they decided to subscribe And the result was huge. We saw a big difference before and after. We have a lot of cases. For me, the lesson I've learned, a new thing could be make enormous, extraordinary development for the club. Don't dare new things, reinvent yourself. This is the best way to improve and also to vehicle your leadership style. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much, Carine. It was an inspiring speech on your leadership style. We'll now have our second speaker, Amit Dudani. Before inviting Amit, I will call upon his speech evaluator, Mohammed Azimuddin, to share the pathways information for Amit's speech. Are you there, Mohammed? Thank you. You're on mute, I believe. Try again, we can't hear you. Still can't hear you. Is anyone Master PR?
Okay, I'll respond for that. This is G. So
Thank you.
Amit. So Amit's speech is all about writing a speech with a purpose from presentation mastery. The project objectives are deliver an effective, well-defined speech on a narrow enough topic.
Thank you very much for helping out. Amit will share what is better, taking decisions from the heart or the head. Amit Dudani, who is your boss? Who is your boss? Amit Dudani.
I'd just like a quick audio video check, please. Am I clearly audible?
Yes, you are.
Thank you very much. Well, the year was 2009 and I was getting married. I was indeed very happy. But there was something in my head that was bothering me. Not about the marriage, thankfully. It was something about my profession. I used to work in the insurance sector, a high-paying job, wonderful salary, big position. But that is not where my heart was. My heart was somewhere else. I used to love the field of sports. I wanted to be a sports person, which I couldn't. And then later, I thought of going into the field of sports administration, which also I couldn't. Because in those days, in my country, sports was not at all big. There were not many opportunities in the field of sports. And I ended up in the field of insurance. As fate would have it, just few months before my marriage, I had applied to a university in London, a sports university in London. And a week before my wedding day, I got the appointment letter to join that university for 2 years and pursue the course that I always dreamed to do. Now, this was a dilemma for me. The choice was to go to the UK, which means letting go of my lucrative job, senior position, and leaving my beautiful wife back home in India for 2 years and being away. What do I do? Who do I listen to? My entire family was not in favor, especially my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law said, Amit, I am wedding my daughter to you and you are going to leave her here and go away for 2 years to study, leave your job, be in uncertainty, not know anything about the future. This is not why you got married, right? So there was a lot of objection from my family and from my wife's family. And there was also a lot of doubt inside of me because I was letting go of something that I had been doing for years. What did I do? I succumbed. I succumbed to the external pressure and the internal doubts. Years passed. 2015. I was again facing a similar dilemma. This time, I had an opportunity to set up my own business. Again, the same question, letting go of an established job, a senior position, and getting into something totally unknown. You don't know whether it would succeed or fail. My advisors were the same. My family and my in-laws were again not in favor of me letting go of that job and getting into something totally uncertain. And I also had my own doubts. This time, what did I do? Thankfully, this time, I took the plunge and I set up my own company. And today, after a few years of setting up the company, I could sell that company and I still continue to be an entrepreneur. Now, what is the difference, my dear friends, in these two decisions? The first decision I took was from my head. Until today, my heart has not been able to reconcile with the fact that I did not go and pursue something that I loved, which is sports management. The second decision I took, which was a riskier one, was from my heart. My heart was telling me, let go of the job and set up your own business. And I did that. And I have no regrets. My lesson from here is, and this is something I like to also suggest to you all is, that whenever you have to decide between what your head tells you and what your heart suggests, best is to follow your heart. Because if you decide with your head, your heart will never reconcile. It will never feel satisfied if you do not listen to it. But if you take the decision from your heart, your head will find a way to help you achieve what your heart wants you to achieve. I have learned that my boss is my heart. I always take decisions from my heart and then instruct my head to come up with ideas and achieve what my heart wants to achieve. And would you believe it? As we speak, my heart still pains from not going to the UK for that course. And as we speak, I have applied at this age to a university in the UK. And God willing, if I get that, I would definitely take that up this time and will not have any regrets because I know who the real boss is, which is my heart. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Amit. Making decisions from your heart. It was a memorable speech. Thank you very much. We'll now have our third speaker, Youselee Joseph. Before inviting Youselee, I will call her speech evaluator, Noorul, to share the pathways information for Youselee's speech. You're on mute. Can you unmute yourself? Thanks.
Toastmaster Youselee is going to deliver her Pathway Influence Path, Project Level 3 and Project 1. The project is Understanding Conflict Resolution. The purpose of the project is for the member to develop or enhance her understanding of the steps and strategies to address the conflict. Over to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you, Noorul. Youselee will share how treating others with respect and compassion is important even when there is conflict. Youselee Joseph, the hyphen, Youselee Joseph.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day. Greeting, colleague Toastmasters and guests. When we were at school, we learned the importance of punctuation. It's the comma, period, and especially the hyphen, which is used between two words to form a whole new one. And we have grown up and they become too familiar or too common. The same is true when it's come to our personal and professional relationship. Sometimes we play some small role without even aware of this. We may, in our attitude, mark the end of a relationship, bring people closer or together, or unite them. So in our daily life, we can play those small and smooth grammatical roles to strengthen, embellish, or even facilitate understanding and unity, especially when conflict occurs. Let me share with you my experience playing this role I call the hyphen. For years, I have worked at a university as an administrative and academic assistant for a master's program. In this position, I was the link between the student and the entire university for all needs, whatever they may be, from the registration of the student to the last day at the program. This can be interesting to deal with various people at all levels at the university. But it can be great when all is done in peace. Unfortunately, this was not always the case. One time, a conflict occurred between the student and the university due to the increase in tuition fees. The administration wanted the student to pay more. The student didn't want to hear anything about that. And there was no way of paying more money. Both parties were right. In one hand, because of endless political unrest in the country, the university was spending more and more money to provide courses. In the other hand, the student didn't want to pay more because it was not in the contract when they were admitted at the university. Never wanted to listen anything. Never wanted to change anything in their decision. They couldn't even have a healthy meeting and not even talk about negotiation, because negotiate with a bunch of angry students can be very challenging. So I started to organize and participating in meeting with the parties separately. First, I organized meeting with the student to explain to them the reason and the importance of the decision to increase the fees, and with the administration of the university to inform them of the student grievance. After some back and forth meetings, they finally agreed to meet. And again, I was there as the link between them to present the summary of the previous meeting and to make peace between both parties. They finally found a great deal that was fit for both. The new fees were maintained and the students have benefited from a payment schedule and other assistance from the university to help them get through the system for this arrangement. One thing allowed me, when I'm thinking about that, to do this. That was credibility. In my attitude, I built trust between both parties. And from this experience, I learned that in a conflict, neither party is wrong or right. And even in the worst moment, they are ready to negotiate. If we take the time to listen to them, understand their grievance and needs, and treat them with respect, no matter who they are, no matter the position that they have. So, colleagues, masters, and guests, as the grammatical aspect, we can play the smooth and small act to make the difference. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much, Youselee, for a very persuasive speech. Thank you for resolving the conflict with respect and compassion. Because as leaders, we should all be compassionate. Thank you. We'll now have our fourth and final speaker for the day. Nthati Mokhantso. Before inviting Nthati, I will call upon her speech evaluator, Nina Donna, to share the pathways information for Nthati's speech. Nina.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. And Nthati's speech is on public relations strategies. It's for 5 to 7 minutes. Present a speech on how the speaker will or might apply what was learned by creating a public relations plan for a real or hypothetical group or situation. Note, the speech is not to be a report on the content of the public relations plan. Over to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Nina. Nthati will share some aspects of her public relations strategy. Nthati Mokhantso, my public relations plan. My public relations plan. Nthati Mokhantso.
Madam Toastmaster, have you ever had an opportunity to develop a public relations strategy? Can I continue or should I pause, Madam Toastmaster?
I believe it's quiet now. It seems as though you can proceed. Sorry about that. And if we can have the Zoom master mute who is not speaking. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Madam Toastmaster, have you ever had an opportunity to develop a public relations strategy? I had, because I established a new Toastmasters club. What is a public relations strategy? It is a practice of creating, promoting, and or maintaining an image of an entity or of an individual. Nikos Kazantzakis, the Greek cinematologist, once said, "Since we cannot change reality, let us change the eyes which see reality." The purpose of this public relations strategy is to create, to maintain, and to diffuse a negative perception and install a positive public perception about this new entity known as ABC Toastmasters Club. In establishing a public relations strategy, one has to go through a number of steps. The first step being to identify the objective. What is it? Why are we establishing, or why are we creating this strategy? The purpose of this strategy was to promote this new baby, this new club, and attract new members by showing them the benefits of joining Toastmasters. What was the message that was conveyed? The message included the benefits of being a Toastmaster, which are as follows: meeting people, getting opportunities for networking and learning, improving public speaking and leadership skills, as well as creating self-confidence. Who was the target audience? Because it is a community club, the target audience was anyone above the age of 18 and who has access to internet, because this ABC Toastmasters Club is an online club. How was the message disseminated? It was important, even for the people that I worked with, to have compassion and an understanding of sending out the same message with different voices. It started with researching the various media houses. And the outcome was that social media, the word of mouth, was the suitable media for spreading the word like wildfire. Then crafted a compelling story which was meant to capture the compassion of the media houses as well as the target audience. It read as follows: ABC Online Toastmasters Club is here to open opportunities for the shy, the scholars, the reserved, public speakers to unleash their leadership, public speaking potential to a higher level. Come one, come all. A Toastmaster is a place where leaders are made. At the end, we conducted an evaluation. One, where the objectives met, yes. The turnaround time, even when we travel, walking in town, they would ask about this. The media coverage was extensive, which was demonstrated by the people that participated and wanted to join as members. In conclusion, to succeed in public relations strategy is to ensure that it is hinged on transparent communication, genuine engagement with the audience, compassion. Together, let us build stronger connections, foster trust, and propel our organizations towards a positive perception. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Nthati. Change the eyes that see reality. Thank you for an impactful and profound speech. And it seems as though your plan was effective in the end. Thank you so much. Now it's time. Can I ask our timer, Madam Timer, please put your report in the chat. Thank you. It's coming, so we can wait for a minute or so, or a few seconds, sorry. And while we're waiting, we can vote for the best effort speaker once Madam Timer puts her report in the chat. And we go ahead and launch the poll. Okay, thank you very much, Deborah. So now we have the poll. Can you please vote for the best effort speak? And our list here is accurate and correct. Thank you very much. Okay, we can move right along. I will now invite and introduce our general evaluator for today's meeting. He's also our club president and a risk management specialist. His name is Asif Saiyed to conduct this portion of the meeting. Welcome, Asif.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster of the Day, for conducting this meeting. Now, in our today's meeting, as a general evaluator, I have a team of evaluators who would be evaluating various roles. So, as part of this, now first evaluation would be done for the person who raised the toast, that is Toastmaster Aswathy, and I invite the evaluator Toastmaster Sandra to evaluate Toastmaster Aswathy's toast.
Thank you so much. Oh, it's good to be back. Alrighty, Aswathy, I don't think I've evaluated you in a long time, so very happy to do so today. I need to go here so I can see you. Anyhow, yes, reflecting on your experiences led to the reflective leadership and brought it back into self-leadership. This was the theme that you picked up from the Toastmaster of the Day's theme. And you did a beautiful toasting because you reflected on the reflecting of. Now there's a go around for you. You are acing your Zoom presence. You've really worked on it. You've got it down smooth. Your in the right position for it. You're relaxed, you're organized. I can really see the growth in you over the time. Now, I would say that your challenge is really your voice tones. That's the next one. It's probably something no one else has mentioned for you, but I have my musical ear and I listen for tones as well. And when you are just talking to somebody, there's a fuller tone. And when you present, you go up and thinner. And there is that difference. I would like you to see you presenting, yes, presenting professionally, but in your everyday voice, which will have more robust sound to it. Then you will be able to bring in more vocal variety as well. Your tone is in this range, and you could surprise us, and you could surprise us, and then back here, and then surprises and surprises. That would be your challenge. Now, interestingly, you started out reflecting on the experiences and reflective leadership, but when you came to the toast at the end, you did that very well. You had us all toast, you know, in your blur. That's what happened to your glass as well. But when you closed, you came back to critical thinking. And I thought, oh, we weren't thinking critical thinking. That's all part of it. But I would like to have seen it come back to reflective leadership thinking. Overall, beautifully done. Thank you so much. Back to you, Mr. GE.
Thank you very much, Sandra. Now we move on to our next role to be evaluated. That is Toastmaster of the Day. And Toastmaster of the Day, that is Toastmaster Claudette, will be evaluated by Toastmaster Brahm. The master, please spotlight Toastmaster Brahm.
Thank you very much, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and especially our Toastmaster of the Day, Claudette Thomas. You prepared yourself way before the meeting started. Of course, a Toastmaster of the Day's role begins several weeks before the meeting starts, how they put the team together, and how they finally unfold the meeting. A Toastmaster of the Day is always in charge of the meeting. It is their meeting. A Vice President of Education only sets it up in this club in the beginning, maybe a week, 2 weeks before. And then it's left to the Toastmaster of the Day to do whatever they need to do to make sure things happen. And you did that very well. You were bugging me 2 weeks before, and because of the holidays, of course, it took a little bit longer to set up the whole thing. But as soon as it was set up, you set up the WhatsApp group, you had everyone log into EasySpeak, accept their roles. All the roles were accepted by Monday. The WhatsApp group had been created by Sunday last week, of course. Unheard of. You and Carine worked so hard and together, and you worked so well together. So that was very effectively done. Now, this is for the beginning, before the meeting begins. Where you could improve is some role players need some training because they're brand new, what they really trained, you know, and we saw that right at the beginning of the meeting. Oh, I can't do this. I don't know how to do this, right? We saw that. So that wasn't sort of followed through as to do new members know what they are doing. They're new to leadership speak, and we do things very differently. And so that was missed out. Number two is always deal with whatever you want to deal with in the WhatsApp group. You know, if you've heard me speak to all the clubs globally as to what makes a successful club is we are not sort of in the open forum, you know, saying, oh, this person isn't here, that person isn't here. It forms a perception. And so I always say, don't sort of do that in the open forum. Do it in the WhatsApp group. That's why we have the open WhatsApp group as to what's going on. Rather than announcing, oh, this person isn't here, that person is here. It doesn't do any help to anyone. So be mindful of that. Is use the WhatsApp group, and we've done it effectively before. So I would suggest that. During the meeting, Zooms, when you begin, you know, eye contact is so important when you begin a meeting. And you were more intent on reading a script, I believe. You had a script. You could just remember keywords and then just look back for your script for those keywords and then go back and say what it is that you need to say. So it shows that this is your first time, you're a bit nervous, and that is fine. So the other thing is, of course, the transition after the role players to when, you introduced the leadership speaker, education speaker. Again, it should have been a better transition. It was an abrupt transition and so on. So between the various different major segments, that should be a proper transition, I would recommend. Otherwise, of course, Claudette, you've done an excellent job. You are an A player, and I have a group of A players in this club, and I will move you into that group. Thank you very much, and all back to you, Mr. G.
Thank you very much, Brahm, for this elaborate evaluation. Yes, Toastmaster of the Day is a very critical role, and Claudette has done fantastically well in doing an follow-up, getting all the roles accepted. The critical role is the last moment. What Brahm, you could have was that, the last moment changes, which continuously could have been posted in the chat as well, so that people are aware of the latest changes as when they join the meeting. And so now we move on to the next role which needs to be evaluated. It is our leadership speaker. And to evaluate the leadership speaker, I invite Toastmaster Mrinal, who feels that, today's theme is so important that it is very critical for leaders to self-reflect for getting focus. Toastmaster Mrinal.
Thank you. Good day, everyone. Especially, I must thanks to our leadership speaker, Toastmaster Vinod. This speech excels in promoting the importance of self-reflections and personal growth. The emphasis on RRR, it's not a movie, it's a formula: research, reflect, and research, is compelling the way to encourage the continuous improvement for individuals. The use of relatable story of father-sons effective conveys a message of finding solution within our reach. The incorporate of research methodologies such as MBTI, Strength Finder, and John D. Martin adds in-depth speech providing tools for self-discovery. He was quoting Peter Drucker, Dalai Lama, 1% theory that lends credibility and wisdom to the message for the audience. Now, coming to enhance your speech for the next level, it's better you can consider providing more concrete example of how the mentioned research methodology, you are talking about 3 different methodologies and principles, have positively impacted individual. You may focus on that parameters. Additionally, offering specific tips on daily reflections could make the message more actionable for the audience. Now, I urge you, Vinod, to challenge yourself to include a call to action on your speech that inspire the audience to take immediate step towards self-discovery and improvement. Overall, I must say your speech successfully communicates the importance of self-awareness and growth. Only little bit actionable items required for the audience, so audience can take immediate action on from your speech. All the best for your next speech. Amazing information, research-based information on your topic. All the best for your next speech. Back to you, G.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mrinal, for the evaluation. I request the Zoom master also to spotlight Brahm. So today in our evaluation session, we are going to have 2 of us, going to give feedback to the evaluator as well. What do you think, Brahm, about Mrinal's evaluation?
Well, first of all, I would like to sort of say what the speaker was doing and then go on to Muriel. So and by doing so, we'll look at what Muriel was actually doing and where it could improve. First, what we have to do, Muriel and speaker, is what is the purpose of the speaker? What is he really doing in terms of at the end taking action or not? So Muriel did point that out. Now, I always say, is this to inform? Is this to inspire? Is this to motivate? Is this to persuade? Is this to educate me? What is this speech about? I think that inform and educational was what it was, rather than inspirational and taking action at the end, the way it was ended. So that's how the speech was. And Muriel did say that taking action, so he did get to that point about that. Now, about the speaker himself, what Muriel did miss out was that, you know, the speaker was going too fast a pace. For a 20-minute speech with so much content, you have to go fast. So you have to sort of say, where do I pare down the content? What was really the purpose of the speech? And so the purpose of the speech was, you know, research, reflect, and research, which was repeated throughout the speech. So we really got that it was doing psychological tests and seeing how that applies to your life. That was simply that. So if that was mentioned somewhere, somehow, and then give the story of the father and the son, it could have been shortened a bit rather than going at length, right? You have to fill time, but then also you go very fast at the same time. So those are the things that I would have said is shorten some of the stories, get to the point of what is it that I want the audience to get. Myers-Briggs test. Okay, so what did it do for me? What are the other tests? What they did for me? Now here's my profile. This is where I am at. Do your profiles and see where you are at. So that's what I would like to see. And that's what Muriel should have focused on. Over to you.
I think Brahm, you know, would this a kind of a slide or PowerPoint in, you know, during the speech could have helped him along with, you know, getting in some kind of banner to showcase, you know, what kind of different theories are, because people then tend to forget so much kind of a research. So it could have been brought down to, you know, continuously highlighted 3 different researches, MBTI, Gallup's and Dr. John T. Martini, like, you know, how did it actually really help him? And what should people do? I mean, like, you know, after knowing this, how can I go and access that same thing, you know, do the test? So that really helps. The evaluator should have pointed out, but the evaluator didn't even point out other things like, you know, how good was the speaker at the presentation skills.
The delivery skills, yes. But what I really liked, however, is the knowledge that Vinod has, and there's so much stuff that he knows, and the test is done and so on. And there's such a boon to the club as well. Sure, the delivery. Actually, I was looking at the Zoom presence there. Perfectly Zoom presence, eye level camera. You know, one of the best Zoom presences. The only thing was on his left side. At the back was a distracting shelf, and all the stuff that was there could be covered up or something. But otherwise, he is a great presenter in that way, except for, as I said, going too fast.
Yeah. His nonverbal gestures were really good. I mean, I really liked, you know, some of his nonverbal gesture, which he was pointing out after the speech. Okay, so now we move on to our next evaluator, would be Toastmaster Hannah, who is going to evaluate Toastmaster Carine. Zoom Master, could you please spotlight Toastmaster Hannah?
Mr. General Evaluator, and of course, Carine, you have identified your primary leadership style, yet I would have preferred that you mentioned democratic leadership style a little bit earlier for me to identify your speech with your particular style of leadership. You used a personal story with some dialogue in it. This is always good. Your body language showed that you had 2 people speaking when you turned your body with a dialogue. Yet, our vocal variety, your vocal variety did not show this clearly because your voice was the same both ways. And to distinguish between the persons, that is the main thing. Using a bit more compassion always adds to the impact of your message. You requested me to concentrate on your vocal variety, and that was my evaluation on the vocal variety. Showing compassion also falls into this category. An example, when you asked, I do not know why, and to walk together with the club, show it. Love, one of your other terms, love and grow to lead a team. Show that you were happy about this leading a team, growing and leading a team. You had some good pauses between your transitions. This was for me to absorb the essence of your message. Another point you requested me to look at was your Zoom presence. And with the dialogue there, you moved from side to side, so I could see some movement of your body. And your hand gestures were stressing those points. You used your screen well in that respect. Your speech ended with a statement, the lesson I have learned. I missed a more powerful call to action. And it is usually customary with a speech to end with a call to action, which you will definitely do with your next speech. Carine, over to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Hannah, for this evaluation. And yours, I would say, like, your Zoom presence was really great. What do you think, Brahm, like, Hannah's Zoom presence?
Well, Hannah's got a good Zoom presence, and she's really worked very, very hard at it. And so shows very, very clearly how the lighting is on her face, her background is blue, and she stands out way I call it framing. So this is called framing. It's a technical term that they use in videography and cinematography. As far as her evaluation is concerned, you have to really find out what the speaker's objective was. I mean, besides the objectives of the pathway, the level that she's doing, what is the objective? Was she trying to inform us or educate us or to take action, inspire us to do something? What was it? So that would sort of give you a better understanding of how you need to evaluate, whether it's sandwich method, whatever method it is, what was the speaker's objective? So Carine's objective here, Hannah, was to inform us of her democratic style and how she got to know her democratic style and what she's really doing to get results. That was it. It was not to sort of for you to go and take action and go and do your own, test in your leadership style. That wasn't the objective at all. And she did that pretty effectively, Hannah. And you did mention how she did those things effectively by how she sort of was. I would mention it more specifically, actually, called to be a president and what was missing and how she sort of created some events and so on and what happened during the events and how she connected things and so on to create and to tell us that this is, a democratic style and this is how it worked for her. So that's the focus of the evaluation should have been. Over to you.
Yeah, okay. So, Brahm, I wanted to highlight one thing which Hannah could have highlighted was her, in the Zoom presence itself, how do you now try to portray communication? Communication means dialogue between somebody else, if I want to talk about somebody else, So normally speakers, what they do is they shift from one place to another just to show two characters. And that's not what necessary always to do to show two characters, by shifting yourself from one place to another place. The reason is it become very distractive. So it could just be by talking about, making a different sound itself. I mean, so that shows the two different characters. That's it. It's not necessary. So sometimes in Toastmasters, I see like, evaluators say, you could have used the full stage. I mean,
Yes.
sorry, it just depends. Here, so Toastmaster Hannah could have pointed out that, I saw in the beginning where Toastmaster Carine was just moving here and there a little bit just to showcase, switching the sides, which couldn't be avoided, that as well.
And you know what? I agree with you, Asif, about that is, you know, this is an advanced club. And we say, whatever you're doing here, use it immediately out in the real world. And what does Carine do? She works in an international bank. She's not going to, in the boardroom and she's making those presentations. She's not going to role play and, hey, you, and hey, you, what are you doing? You know, no, not necessary. So even the slight movement, fine. If there was not even that, I would still go for it, because what is she going to do outside in the real world?
Yes.
I mean, we are not going to act here different and then be different in the real world. This is where you are learning what to do in the real world. So there has to be, we have to understand where the speaker is coming from, who the speaker is. This is an advanced club. What they are doing outside in the real world. So what are they doing over here? There has to be that connect, right? What do you think, Asif?
Yeah, that's very, very important, you know, that we start practicing, especially nowadays we are connecting over Zoom or Team or whatever, you know, this remote connectivity software. And we really don't know, like, you know, how people would understand or take our messages, you know. So it's very, very important just to understand as well how we communicate on this Zoom or the remote connectivity softwares. Okay, so now I think, like, you know, we can move on to our next evaluator as well. And our next evaluator is going to be Toastmaster Azimuddin, who is going to be evaluating Toastmaster Amit Dudani. So Zoom Master, could you please spotlight Toastmaster Azimuddin? I hope you have resolved your...
Yeah, now I am
You're audible, perfectly audible.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay, thank you. Thank you, General Evaluator. This is my opportunity to evaluate such an interesting speech delivered by Amit Dudani on the topic, who's your boss? So I say, well done, Amit Dudani, for your speech. As an evaluator, I like to see many things in your speech, but some of the things is that the topic first. The topic, the organization, the meaningful content, and transition, and finally the purpose. So the topic that you choose, who's your boss, and you started the speech from your marriage. So I was thinking that your wife is your boss, but later on you just clarified it very clearly that your heart is your boss. Sometimes we say my heart is my wife, so it's obviously goes to that direction. So the organization was really very, very meaningful and very tactfully organized. Your marriage, your education in UK, and finally setting up your business. That was very fine, and that worked well with your purpose of your speech. And then meaningful content also, in each of the segments I found that you have presented the meaningful content. And finally the message that you delivered, that always when you decide something in your life, you just go with your heart, not your mind. So that was the story that you delivered nicely in your speech. So let us see something that from my side I would like to add to improve such a wonderful speech into the most excellent speech. And that is that I was just feeling that there is some lack of passion in your speech, because you are delivering a speech on the conflict between hearts and minds. And in this case, you need to, and you are going with your heart. So you have to show the passion, that when you decided some course of action based on your heart, then you have to be very passionate about your decision that you made. That I felt that it was missing in your speech. So you could use your voice modulation and body movement. You had enough space, and also your Zoom presence was very nice and very active. So you could use that. So when you decide from your mind, what are the implications that you found you have to say in your speech, and then come to the course of action that you decided based on your heart, means listening to your heart. So when you listen to your heart, it revibrates through your actions, and that action you could deliver through your voice modulation and body movement. So this, I think, was missing in it, and it could improve your speech in your future endeavor. Thank you very much to General Evaluator.
Well, thank you very much, Azimuddin, for pointing out your thoughts on how to improvise Amit Dudani's speech. So, Brahm, and very important is like, we do understand about the project objective. The project objective was over here is to present the speech in a way that effective, well-defined speech on a narrow enough topic and writing a speech with purpose. Do you think that the evaluator did point out on that, like, covered that speech objective?
So, we are an advanced club. So, and that level 1, second speech is all about, how you are sort of layering a speech, how you begin, how you layer the speech, and so on, how you sort of had the content going on, which was, of course, the main purpose of the speech. But we are also an advanced club. So this speaker has done many, many other speeches. However, still the focus should have been on, did the content really flow and so on, and things like that. The evaluator here, the first error that the evaluator did was right at the beginning, added something maybe for humor purposes, but wife and heart. It has nothing to do with the speech whatsoever, right? And even if there was a perception, you have to leave aside your disposition and focus on what is the speaker saying, and what is their intent, and what did they do at the end. The intent of the speaker was to inspire us to listen to our heart, and then let the the head be the employee and do the work after the heart has made the decision, was the boss. And how did he go about doing that? So that was missing in the evaluation. So this is now at a higher level, of course, the critical thinking in evaluations is what was the intent, how was it delivered, and did they achieve the purpose? Besides the purpose of the speech itself, which was to write the speech, and the content, and how the content was devised. So like that. Now, also, the evaluator mentioned that the Zoom presence was great, but I noted in my here that the camera angle, the speaker was looking into the camera. It was not quite at the level it should have been. The lighting, and the face, the lighting on the face and the background was like dimmer than what it was. There was no good framing, right? I called it the framing. So that's a technical word. It was not framed well. So those are things that I would have looked, would have wanted to see from the evaluator. What I would like to see is, however, the evaluator is experienced, and he did point out quite a number of great things as well. And especially the lack of passion and the verb. This was about inspiration. So the passion should have been there, and the evaluator spent quite a bit of time about the passion and the use of language and how it should have been done and so on, which I really liked.
Yeah. One thing over here, is at the back end, and it's a request to now. Everyone is a role player. You all need to be connected. The meaning is, while we hear the speaker continuously wanted the evaluator to focus on certain things, and that was like, please do spend more time on my critical evaluation rather than what things really went good. So that was a specific request. Now we do miss out certain things, if we are not continuously connected with at the back end, what our speakers want, and we don't connect with them, so we won't be able to add much more extra value to them. Okay, so over here, Amit also could have, where the evaluator could have brought out was, now Amit is presenting to an international audience, is this message, what you're talking about, is to when you bring in, the influence of wife and, mother-in-law and such things, how would the other public take it as, like, whether it's going to really impact his brand image or something that way. That kind of a thought process also now evaluators need to add about when you are presenting it to an international audiences, So what do you think, Brahm, about this particular point?
I would agree with that they are very diverse and so on. So, if it was necessary, and if the speaker had focused on something on that and made humor something, fine. Otherwise, we need to steer clear of sometimes certain things. I find that in the eastern countries, out in the east, the culture is very different than how it's viewed in the West. And in fact, it's seeping across the globe, and that culture of the Western culture of how we view the different roles of partners in society is very different and changing as well, and seeping across. So we have to be conscious of those things, of course, the diversity and so on, and equality and equanimity and so on.
Yeah, but I mean, but it didn't go bad. But like I just thinking that the use of this kind of characters should be thought upon to what kind of a message we want to pass on, because it's all about the heart and the head, how it goes ahead, and definitely relationships do matter a lot, and it definitely a kind of a humor or the passion it would have added into his speech as well, Toastmaster Amit. Well, a very nice speech presented by Toastmaster Amit. Now we move on to our next evaluator. Is going to be Toastmaster Nina, who's going to be evaluating Toastmaster Nthati. Toastmaster Nina.
Thank you so much, General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters and guests. So Nthati was talking about her public relations strategy for setting up a Toastmasters club, which is amazing because for all of us, we have takeaways over here. Even though we are so diverse a club globally, the principles still remain the same. If you are launching a Toastmasters club, who are you launching it for? What will they get? And how can we reach those benefits to them? So I think she did a great job on telling us her strategy. And I like the way she said, what should it cover? Transparent communication, genuine engagement, personal trust, all building up to a positive perception. And I think that quote was really good. What is public relations with the ability to change the eyes if you can't change the reality, change the perception? That was such a beautiful one. So I think where you were talking about, Toastmasters is not just a public speaking thing, but these are the benefits. And she outlined the benefits, which I think are great. And in terms of outcome, what I would have liked is for her to say, now that the club has been set up, this is what we have found. That's X number of speakers improve their speaking skills. These people have improved their leadership skills, and now they are discovering themselves. And the promise we made is being carried out. So that would have been great in terms of content, just a little bit to add to her content. Otherwise, in terms of body language, lovely, vital, dynamic energy throughout the speech. But in terms of Zoom presence, I think the camera should have been faced right in front. I kept feeling she was looking at the side. So that was one. And a clock at the back is very distracting because has she finished her time? Has she short her time? Oh my gosh, is she okay? Not okay. So never have a clock that the audience can see. Have one only way who can see what's happening. That makes things much easier for everyone. So overall, I think in terms of public relations strategy, she covered everything that was required. And in terms of what she learned was also there that, positive perceptions are built up by actions and by all these factors, not just the social media, not just the dissemination of all those things, but the other factors that come into play when you're setting up a Toastmasters club. So those are the things that I really liked. And therefore, I think she did a great job of all these. I'm looking forward to the rest of her speeches. And I think as Toastmasters across the world, all of us have a lot of takeaways from her speech in terms of how do we do it? I mean, social media, who we are targeting, what are we promising? Are we delivering? All of those things are things we need to think about. That's really what reflective management is all about. So back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Nina. Yes, I invite Toastmaster Brahm. Hello.
Hey. So, how the speaker began, and this then will throw some light on Nina's evaluation. How the speaker began was that, have you ever had an opportunity to develop a PR strategy? So, and the ending, what was the ending? To succeed in PR, be transparent, genuine engagement, trust, compassion, and so on, and building strong connections was the ending. So this was all about PR, nothing else but PR. And so what were the layers? And this was more of an informational type of a speech rather than an inspirational whatever. So here's the thing: we make mistakes as evaluators. We tell a speaker to change their speech by saying, what happened at the club with the speakers and how many spoke? It had nothing, no relevance at all to the speaker. We can only suggest how to enhance the content by adding something, but not change the speech. The speech was about PR. It was not about after that what happened to the club. It had nothing to, no bearing at all. So we have to sort of make sure that we don't go into that aspect. The evaluator at the end did summarize what they were evaluating, so it was summarized. But you know, you have to really summarize it succinctly, and you have to say in summary, which means now you're completing your evaluation. Here, this is what I found great. Here's the improvement, and this will take you to the greatness as well. So those were the things that if we add that at the end, that'll be great. Over to you, Asif.
Yeah, thank you. Well, very nice evaluation done by Toastmaster Nina. A couple of adjustments we are continuously doing because last moment adjustments. Okay, and so now we're going to move on to, Brahm, we're going to move on to our next evaluator, and that was Toastmaster Noorul, who's going to be evaluating Toastmaster Youselee.
Yes, thank you, General Evaluator. Yes, Toastmaster Youselee, the hyphen. It's a good way of opening with explanation of your topic and how it is connected in personal life. You said even small role you play at any time make an important impact without knowing of us. And you also shared your own experience in your profession to explain how a conflict between two groups started and how you were able to be a middle person in resolving the conflict. We all know when it comes to the university, it's a tug of war between the university students and the administration, all of us. While you students were adamant not to adhere to the administration request, but administration was adamant in increasing the fee. And you have come into the picture there, and you started to discuss with two teams in different times, and you were able to bring the conflicts in a smooth manner to resolve the conflict. What I felt was, Youselee, it was a good speech. What I felt was you talk you took more time in explaining or bringing the intro of the speech. Nearly 4 minutes you took how the conflict was created and everything. And you took only 2 or 1.5 minutes to explain how we were able to resolve the conflict between those two groups. But you told, obviously, you had discussion with two groups, of course, in resolving the conflicts, but you could have enhanced your speech with explaining a little bit more. For example, just having discussion with two groups individually, with one meeting, definitely you can't resolve the conflicts. You could have explained in more steps what was the first step administration took to bring calmness in the student group. And you could have also explained how the student group started to react and went forward in understanding the importance of the paying the fee. And of course, you told how the students were given assistance from the university. So what I felt, you could have spent more time in explaining how you resolved the conflict with 2 or 3 more steps, could have enhanced your speech. It was a good speech, which was crisp and clear, and you had good pauses in between your speech, and you had a good vocal variation, which you wanted me to look into. In summary, it was a good speech. Only thing is, you could have enhanced your speech with more steps, how you took in resolving the conflict. Over to you, gentlemen.
Thank you, Toastmaster Noorul, for your feedback. And now I invite Toastmaster Brahm. Brahm, whenever such kind of a topic comes, it's all about a strategy, and then the evaluator needs to give an evaluation about, how did the speaker, was convincing about the strategy which the speaker spoke about. What are your thought processes? Okay, obviously on the evaluation done by Noorul, and what else?
Well, yeah, Noorul is a very experienced evaluator, as you could see. Clearly, she came out with, where the speaker had spent more time, or where could spend more time, how they could sort of explain a bit more about how the conflict was resolved. That she wanted that more explanation. So it wasn't this one here. She was asking for more content, but it was not taking away from the content. It was all about the content itself, as to what the objective of the content. So that was great in this case, and she did that very well as well. And how at the beginning it was a bit prolonged, could have been shortened, and more on the other side of how the conflict could be resolved, and she wanted more details. So I like that part very much. And she actually did summarize at the end. She said in summary, and then summarize. You could see a very experienced evaluator at work here.
Oh, that's great. Noorul, that's good. So, yes, it's kind of steps. She could have introduced more and more steps. Why can't the evaluator bring it more into the beginning itself, so that the evaluator can deliberate more onto what kind of steps the speaker could have definitely taken care of? Well, didn't you think about the speaker didn't mention much about the Zoom presence, because I felt that, the
Yes.
speaker was, speaking much more, nearer to the screen. And so her hand gestures, which were definitely, she was making a lot of hand gestures, but, many of those hand gestures were just covered because of the screen presence.
And you know what, I agree. Actually, if you notice, all the speakers today were looking down into the camera, most of them, except for, I think, Vinod, I believe, and Amit, but it wasn't, his lighting wasn't that great. The framing wasn't that great in terms of lighting. So, so, in Zoom presence, we are on an only online club. So mentioning Zoom presence and what's really going on in the framing is very, very important, because, in a physical space, you would say how the speaker moved around in the stage, what they did, and so on. That movement on the stage is very important. Here, the framing is important in that, in the rectangle that we live in the box that we live in. So, yeah, over to you.
Correct. So, Brahm, if we have just, another 3 or 4 minutes. Are you able to hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, Brahm, was there the disconnection or something? Okay.
Slight bit.
Slight a bit, right? Okay. Anyway, I have a backup as well, so Zoom Master can take care of that as well. Okay. So, what do you think about the overall, meeting? As how did the speakers do, and how did the evaluators do?
So there was some evaluators who had actually asked the speaker beforehand, and that connected, which was quite apparent, and that the evaluator did mention this is extra what you were looking for. And so it is always a good practice for evaluators and speakers, because of an advanced club, to really meet. I mean, you don't want to do the same speech and the same evaluation you do in a community club. So the stakes have to be raised a bit, so that our learning can be raised a bit. That's why we are in an advanced club. So I would encourage that part. I would encourage that you pay more attention to framing and the Zoom part, and think critically. So if the evaluator is thinking critically, also the speaker, when they're putting together the speech, need to think critically. What am I doing here? Am I informing? Am I educating? Am I inspiring? What am I doing here? And so how am I going to put the speech together with whatever I'm doing here? Where do I need more emphasis? Where do I need to raise my voice and pause, and then use that emotion to draw the audience in? And those sort of things are the things that we need to be practicing at the advanced club, and so on.
Okay, yeah, that's a very good input, I think, one more thing about the meeting, more preparation, more participation. This is what I feel that, we are all about engagement, about practicing at the back end, and that would definitely make a good final presentation. Is quite very much important. Our club has all been about engage and practicing, and so that obviously and obviously Toastmasters itself is a practicing platform. But even at this practicing platform, we need to practice and practice at whatever options we get. So yes, Brahm, your message for our club members to do more and more practice.
Yeah, absolutely. Sorry, Asif, you're getting frozen there. So while you are unfreezing, yeah, the practice is a great idea. That's why we have meetings on Tuesdays, on Thursdays. Tuesdays is my own group. Anybody can come, and then of course the mentor groups are there for practicing as well. So that's why we created the mentor groups, so that you can mentor each other as well.
Okay, great. So yes, a little bit of this lag is there in my internet connection as well. But anyway, it was a fabulous, session today. And we had a very good evaluation in the speaker session. What I will do is now, Brahm, I mean, this is one of this case study which we have done today, that like how we can do a joint evaluation as well. It was great. So we move on to our, handing it back to, we'll launch the poll as well in the meanwhile, and I'll be handing it back the charge to our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Claudette.
Thank you very much, Asif and Brahm. It was an excellent session. I learned a lot from this round robin, and we should do more of this. I know we do it during the week, but I am happy that you filled in the time with us. Thank you very much. So at this time, I will present the thought of the day. I am filling in for some, I'll just change my background here. Sorry about that. So moving right along. So our thought of the day participant was not able to attend. But during the week, I had submitted a question to our group, our chat group for this week's meeting on reflective leadership, asking them what were their thoughts? What did they think about reflective leadership? I have written down a few. I hope I got everyone. I will not call names, but you will know who submitted the responses. So the reflective leadership from the group was as follows. Always finding time to improve and grow. Introspection based on feedback. Assess and reflect on the impact of his or her decisions on others. Observe both with self and outside, and ask two critical questions. What is happening? Why is it happening? Conscious of thoughts, actions, and effect on the big picture and the ongoing interactions with others in the team. Reflective leadership also refers to being a role model for others, creating opportunities for their growth accompanied by positive feedback. So these are some reflections from the team, the awesome team we had for this week's meeting. So thank you for this. And now we're moving right along. So Zoom Master, do you have the results of the best effort speaker, and best effort evaluator that you can post at this time? Okay, we can try to.
Well, we call PR, and the best effort speaker is Vinod Panicker.
And do we have the best effort evaluators yet? Well, in the meantime, congratulations, Vinod. Job well done. Can I just wait for a second or two to get the best efforts evaluator?
So we're going to end the poll for the best evaluator. The best evaluator is out. Okay, we share the result. PR master.
Noorul, no, oh yes, congratulations. Wow, everyone got a vote or two. So congratulations, Noorul. So congratulations to our best effort speaker, Noorul. No, best effort speaker, Vinod, and best effort evaluator, Noorul. So I want to thank everyone who has worked so hard to make this meeting a success. A special thank you to Carine for helping me as my first time in this role. The patience, time, and expertise was really appreciated. I have to mention your name. But other role players, thank you for your participation and contribution. Just one final thought on reflective leadership. Just remember to regularly pause and reflect on your thoughts, your feelings, and actions. And this is for continuous growth and learning and development. I now, as control of the meeting, back to our president, Asif Saiyed. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Claudette. Once again, for conducting this meeting with the panel, it was so superbly well adjusted. You were, with everyone, following up with everyone right from the beginning of last week, and then that's the results which we saw. Very important, is to reflect back, and obviously, now we are into this new year 2024, and we just completed the last year 2023. And as our leadership speaker also did mention that, let's take time to reflect back. And past we can't change. But what we can learn from the past is the lessons learned. And while I always say, the future is very, very uncertain, but when patterns do emerge, then we can definitely work upon those things which are under our control. Definitely things which are not under our control, we don't have to really worry about it, but reflecting on the past, on our achievements, on our challenges. We don't say failures because we learn from the things which didn't go in the way we wanted to. We just learn from them and we want to move ahead. So when we want to reflect as leaders, take a pause from this madness, daily making so many so many decisions in a day, interacting with so many people, leaders definitely do get tired and might lose their focus. So by reflecting, definitely it gives us, or we get back our focus. That's what you must have heard, why many of the leaders do play golf as well, or with the corporate CEOs or those people who play golf, because that also gives them enough time to go and reflect back and take decisions for the future. So this meeting, we saw also, how really, we as a team, adjusted to the changing circumstances. There were changes in roles, there was changes in agenda, and we really did well in that as well. And definitely after this meeting, we'll be reflecting upon how did we perform, what things can be changed, where we can improve. Because as I always say, Toastmaster is this platform where we come and practice. And this is our testing place. And from here, we get this understanding about, where we want to improve as well. Well, I thank very much our leadership speaker, Toastmaster Vinod, and our role players who did a splendid job, Toastmaster Trevor as a timer, and our evaluators as well, and Zoom Master. So this is a fantastic meeting. We saw a different experiment as well, which we did, myself and Brahm, because we did get some time. Otherwise, our meetings are so packed that we are just fighting for even one minute. And that's how our processes are built to shorten the role plays. And more important, did we forget the grammarian report? Yes.
She had some troubles. Is she in the room? she has some troubles connecting. And
Yes,
there she is. Thank you, Asif.
Yes. So,
thank you.
yeah, may I invite our grammarian word of the day to tell us about the report as well?
Okay, thank you, President, for the opportunity to give the summary of my report. I will just mention the people that have noted that they've used the word of the day. Definitely, the Toastmaster of the day has used the word compassionate so many times. I've counted plus minus 5 times, but that is an under counting from what I've heard. And Vinod used it once, and Nthati used it twice, Hannah twice. I missed the president and Brahm as to whether have they used it or not. But other than that, there are those members that might have used it, but I didn't pick it up. In terms of the improvement, I've noted just 2 that could be improved. One speaker said you could surprise us. I suggest using it in this format. You could have surprised us. And sorry, the other one that can be improved is that for me, it was a failure because I did not know why. My suggestion would be, for me, it was a failure because I did not know the reasons. Other than that, so many of the things that I picked up, the evaluators have already pointed on those. Generally, the use of the language was precise. It was very good. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. So, Nakasi is our new member, and that's why we wanted to get back her into action. She was there back in the meeting. And yes, so we were talking about reflecting, and it's, while another way of reflecting is that we like to speak to our guests. How did our meeting go on? Because they are also our critical evaluators who either tell us, what really did go well, and then, their suggestions as well as part of our meeting, So with this, we are going to end this. I'm going to adjourn this meeting. Very important. This is just the beginning of the year. We keep on reflecting as a team, as our leadership challenge. And we're going to meet again next week with some more interesting theme. With this, I take opportunity to thank you everyone and wish you that, our new year is going to be continuously, we're going to keep evolving. We are still now #1 in the world as far as the ranking are concerned. Thank you very much, Brahm, for putting in those kind of efforts, fabulous efforts to keep this club more, to give the club more success. With this, I adjourn the meeting. Thank you, Zoom Master. Please end the recording.